Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about those awful events happening in Minneapolis. Specifically, we're talking about liberal celebrities who are chiming in when they really shouldn't be. More specifically, today we're talking about a tweet from Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is a pop music singer and writer and longtime adversary to the show right here. We actually tried to support her a few years back when in 2017, she was kind of neutral and didn't get political. She was doing her own thing. And actually, there was one video we made where leftists got mad at Taylor Swift for saying she had a good year. Yeah, I guess everyone's supposed to be bad and sad and depressed because the liberals are mad that Trump won the election. They're really, really suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, as we all know. And this story has led us back to that today. You see, Taylor Swift changed her ways, and recently, around sometime about a year ago, she started getting super woke to compensate. So she started off middle of the road, letting things go, and then she got woke as hell, trying to make up for it and get all these liberal fans back on her side. This resulted in her making these pro-LGBT music videos, even making a music video where she cross-dressed and made herself out to be a man, saying men are always getting advantages, so that's why she dressed up as one. That's why she was pretending, because men have everything better. She's basically an anti-male hater now, a very, very feminist person, and also very left-leaning. And she's decided to chime in on this new story with a very awful take, and everyone's railing her about it. We're talking about it today. We're going to go over some responses too. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Here's the tweet. It just really triggered me for a lot of ways. I'll admit it. I'll say it right out the gate. Here's what Taylor Swift had to say. After stoking the fires of white supremacy and racism your entire presidency, you have the nerve to feign moral superiority before threatening violence? When the looting starts, the shooting starts. We will vote you out in November at Real Donald Trump. So this is a response to a lot of things, specifically the president almost trying to blame him for what's going on here. Like the insinuation is, oh, he fanned the fires of this fake white supremacy racism stuff. So that's what caused these people in Minneapolis to riot, and then threatening them with violence. That never happened. We all know what Trump really said. All he said was, when looting starts, the shooting starts. So that was part of the quote, part of the tweet that we actually talked about in another video. Twitter tried to censor this tweet, saying he was inciting violence. But no, all Trump is saying, and it makes sense, and there's nothing offensive about it. It says, if you're looting, you might get hurt. You might get shot. There's people that are going to try to defend their stores, their property. There's going to be cops trying to arrest people. There's going to be lots of situations where you can get yourself injured. That's just a fact. That's just truth. That's just Trump trying to actually warn people, believe it or not. He cares about this country. He cares about everyone, even the detractors. We're not trying to say, hey, we disagree with liberals, but we're not trying to say, hey, they need to get hurt or taken out or anything like that. They don't need to leave the country. They just need to obey the laws and respect law and order, the country and the way we are. I mean, this is about riots. This is about people stealing stuff, and Taylor Swift is defending them. This is a high and mighty ivory tower inhabiting gate living. She lives in some gated community. She's probably tweeting this in a multi-million-dollar mansion on a $2,000 special edition iPhone with the extra storage. And she's like, oh, these poor protesters. Why can't they just steal from that Target? Like, what do you think a protest is, lady? And I wonder also, going back to the beginning, like, what do you think this white supremacy is? Like, what the heck? Where does that even come from? How is Trump racist? No one is saying that. No one is talking about one race being better than the other. No one's saying, oh, this one's supreme. No one's saying this one group of people is worse than them. That's not happening. Like, you don't have any proof. You're just throwing out these buzzwords. WS is a big buzzword. Racism is a big buzzword. And she's just also trying to virtue signal, like, oh, I care about the people. I care about the protesters. It's like, no, you're defending looting. You're defending the looting of stores from innocent people. Like, these stores had nothing to do with the incident that incited this whole situation. We don't even need to get back into that. The point is, these people are looting random stores in Minneapolis. that had nothing to do with it. Like Target didn't do anything wrong. The dollar store, this random guy's bar who saved up, this firefighter, and I heard in a story, saved up and built this bar business that he'd been dreaming about. He had nothing to do with what happened. Like, why do these people have to suffer because a couple of looters want to get some free stuff? They want to steal liquor and TVs and stuff. And then people like Taylor Swift are behind that. It's just really messed up. And it kind of makes you sick. And it shows how out of touch this silly singer is. I mean, she's just some girl who sings about breakup songs. She's just... She has no relationship she can hang on to because guys hate her. She's always breaking up with them. And that's what's fueled all her music. Like, that's all she is. She plays guitar and sings breakup songs. And then she wants to chime in on this whole story. I mean, I get it. And I've actually gotten flack about this before because I tried to make a similar statement about Ninja, the video game streamer. He was chiming in about the Minneapolis stuff. And I just kind of said, hey, I mean, I don't think he's wrong. He was taking a side and saying the person didn't deserve to die. Like, everyone agrees with that. But really, these kinds of high profile people on social media, they need to stay in their lane and talk about stuff like they know. Like, Taylor Swift should be tweeting about music. She should be tweeting about what she actually has to do with her next music video. Gamers should be tweeting about video games and other stuff like that. I mean, I'm not saying they can't speak out. I'm not trying to silence anyone. But when I see these kinds of high profiles talking about this stuff, trying to virtue signal, it's really sickening because they're trying to take advantage of the story. They're often taking bad takes. You know, sometimes they're just neutral, and that's kind of annoying too because they're just highlighting the story. Even if they have the right take, it's like, unless you're a cop and political opponent, you know, unless you're into the news or something, like if you're a reporter, like report the news. If you're a political commentator, talk about stuff, talk about these social issues. But if you're just some girl who makes breakup songs on her guitar and cries about dudes always breaking up with her, probably because Taylor is a terrible person. Let's be real. You know, I'm not trying to be too cruel here, but the reason she has so many breakups is no one can stand staying with her that long. She's obviously an egomaniac. She's obviously obsessed with herself. She has no self-awareness. This money and this career and this success has gone to her head. And now we're at a point where she thinks she's relative to this kind of political conversation. All right, next, let's get to some of these replies. We've already seen the Styx one on there. He says, "Here comes another massively wealthy person in a gated community lecturing others on how to think." Well put. Again, referencing how these Hollywood elites all live in these gated, protected communities. So they don't even understand, like they don't even get how people can be scared, how these riots could cause bad strife in the neighborhoods. Like, there's other people in these neighborhoods that are probably locked into their houses, barricading the doors. They can't even go out for food or any kind of things. They might need medicine or something, like help. They can't do it because these towns have gone into chaos. And then on top of that, you got Taylor Swift defending these looters, attacking the president as if he did something wrong. Like, the president's trying to help too. You know that? He's trying to call out Minnesota and get them to rein back in the law and order and stuff. Like, get the leader there, the mayor, the governor to take action. Tell the police to start arresting the criminals. It doesn't make sense to attack the people that are trying to help. Here, Kat says, "Trump landslide coming. I'll bring the tissue." Good point there. I think that brings me back to Taylor's tweet where she says we're going to vote Trump out. I mean, Taylor's endorsed other candidates before. I know she endorsed some Democrats in the midterm election in 2018. She was probably pro-Hillary in 2016, as were a lot of other celebrities. But their endorsements don't mean anything. People don't care what celebrities have to say about these politics. Like, no one cares. Oh, Taylor Swift said not to vote for Trump. Like, who is that going to influence? Like, besides a few of her fans, like I'm sure she has some younger fans that might go along with that. Like, there might be a few here or there, but most of them probably just don't vote or don't care, and they're not going to show up. And if they're slightly left-leaning, that's just because that's the popular, acceptable thing to be. Like, a lot of people that don't know about politics just kind of assume being left-wing is the way to go because they see it in the media all the time. But the point is, this kind of thing in this cat comment, cat turd, you know, it's saying, hey, this is going to help Trump. This is going to rally our base, us, this video, this me, and you guys watching. Like, I'm getting more excited when I hear stupid people like Taylor Swift calling us white supremacists. What? That's like some old 2016 talking points that weren't even good back then. Like, no one is that. No one is WS. No one is WS. Okay, get over it. Sarah simply says, shut up, Taylor. Michael says Taylor Swift is canceled. This guy was making fun of him. Stick to music, please. This is what I was saying before. Well put, Ian. They need to stay in their lane sometimes. I know it's tempting and people want to get those virtue signal points, but it really doesn't mean anything. Taylor needs to stick to music and stop tweeting about politics, but it's totally okay for a game show host with no experience in government to be president. What? There's so many of these people trying to do these wannabe zingers. Like, I don't get it. Trump hosted The Apprentice. That was a very successful TV show. Okay, I understand that. But if he wins the presidential election, then he does get to be president. I mean, it doesn't matter what his previous experience was. It doesn't matter if he didn't have a lot of experience in politics. I mean, lots of people that have experience in politics are terrible. You know, we didn't want a politician. We didn't want a career politician. Joe Biden has a long career in politics. Look at him. He's fallen apart. He's never accomplished anything, just like Bernie Sanders or Nancy Pelosi. I mean, these people have been in politics for decades and decades. That's how the Democrats work. They get into power, they never let go, and they never change anything. They just make stuff worse. I mean, why would you elect these career politicians when you don't like the way the country is going? You know, let's elect a strong, smart leader type. Trump has built companies and golf courses and hotels and had billion-dollar businesses, all that kind of stuff. I mean, he has experience in stuff. Like, it's not like he just was picked up off the street. He doesn't have a experience being a specific politician, but that shit's really not that hard. I mean, being the president is definitely hard. Being the top politician is a big, big responsibility. But the idea that, oh, you need this experience, like what if you were vice president before? What if you were a senator, a representative? I mean, those spots can go to anyone. That doesn't help you be a good president. It can, but not necessarily. Well, that about wraps things up. That was a really bad tweet from a terribly biased person. I'm not sure what Taylor's experience is in politics. I'm not sure if she's ever voted. I don't really know much about her except she makes bad breakup songs, and she just seems really into herself. She also wears a lot of bangs and covers her face a lot because, you know, she needs a lot of makeup to make herself look pretty, like this picture. And yeah, it's just a biased statement from someone who knows nothing about politics. This is a young, pampered multi-millionaire. She has like hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, she is not connected to the real world. She doesn't know what's going on out there. She doesn't care either. She only cares about towing the line with leftists enough to keep her music career going. That's what's going on here. Make no mistake, guys. You got to kind of kowtow to leftists and communists and the looters at this point, the Minneapolis riots. You got to kowtow to these criminals and these anti-American losers in order to keep yourself going. And Taylor's kind of learned her lesson when she was trying to remain neutral before. We tried to give her props for that, but she caved in. And now she's just turned into your typical leftist, your typical, you know, Hollywood celebrity bashing the president, calling us names for no reason, no evidence, nothing going on, nothing logical here. This isn't a smart person. Granted, she's a rich person and she got very popular, but most of that is based on her being young and cute and writing the right songs and getting picked up by the right labels. Like, I'll give her credit. I'm not saying she was a one-hit wonder. I mean, she definitely kept going with her career and had hit after hit. She played the system. But as far as understanding politics and what's going on in the real world in Minneapolis, she doesn't know what she's talking about. That about wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Also, hit that like button to help support this channel. And until next time, you guys have a great day.